Hello folks, welcome to another video here in the Microsoft Sim. Welcome to a very noisy recording environment. I hope that it gets a little quieter as the flight progresses, otherwise I will go frigging insane. Anyway, folks, welcome to another video. This will be a first impression style video looking at a freeware utility that has found its way onto the .to in recent days. And it's a utility that complements this aeroplane on our screen. This is the aeroplane being the A320 by Fly-by-Wire, experimental edition. I don't fly it a lot, and it's not a tutorial, it's not a review of the aeroplane. I am not an A320 expert by any reckoning. I can barely recognise that it's an A320. The freeware utility that I want to feature today is this thing here. It's called rsFirstOfficer, and it's kind of based on the rsFirstOfficer plugin that you may be familiar with over in X-Plane. And the developer has alluded to that. That was his inspiration. And yeah, it's not as fully featured as the X-Plane plugin, but it's a pretty good start. And what it does is essentially simulates having a first officer on board, brings some life to the A320 flight deck. So we'll have a look at that as this flight progresses. You'll also notice for this flight, I'm doing a little bit of testing, a little bit of benchmarking, personal benchmarking. So you'll notice that up the top left-hand corner of the window will be some stats displaying what's happening with my GPU, my VRAM, my CPU, my RAM, and also my frame rate. And that's courtesy of an overlay that comes from an application called Afterburner. I might provide a link to that in the description as well. And I'm doing this flight, yeah, combination of things, but I've done some changes around settings and stuff. And I just want to see what that actually translates to in terms of numbers. And we'll have a look at this freeware utility as well, rsFirstOfficer, on a flight in Australia. Hence the Jaffa livery here, the resplendent Jaffa livery. Let me tell you where we are and where we're going, and then we'll come back and get this aeroplane started with the help of rsFirstOfficer. Little navmap is, of course, our go-to tool for describing our route. We begin our journey in the dead centre, the red centre even of Australia, a place called Alice Springs. And our destination today is down in the southern state of Victoria, a place that some of you may have heard of, the little city of Melbourne. Population of Melbourne, what is it? Probably 5 million? Is it 5 million? 4 or 5 million perhaps? In Melbourne. Hello to all of my Melbourneian viewers, Victorians in general. Hope you're all well down there, surviving the yet another wave of COVID. Anyway, flight today will take us from Alice down to Melbourne. Flight time of around about 2.5 hours. Flight level 370 is what SimBrief recommended. We'll be flying a SID off runway 12 out of the Alice, and then a star into runway 34 down there in Melbourne. So 2.5 hours worth of flying. That means a really heavy edit to the video. I'll film a little bit of the startup and departure portion, a little bit of en route, and then rejoin you for the approach. Alice to Melbourne, let's go flying. Right, so welcome on board, folks, and welcome aboard Jude. Have a look at you, and you look spiffy in your uniform, hey? Look at, geez, don't you look dead? What's going on? I don't think I've ever seen your arms, Jude. You're normally wearing that brown jacket. Bloody hell, you look like a cadaver, love. What's going on here? I mean, you're looking all right in that view. You look the business. 4 stripes as well. Jude, you're probably outrank me, do you? Do you see? Oh, there. Oh God, you see me a little bit too. Oh God, a little bit too close. I'm dressed quite casually. If I was flying a Jetstar A320, that's how I dress. But Jude's dressed for the occasion. Appreciate the effort, love. But I don't know what's going on here. We need to get some red meat or something into you. You look a bit ordinary. I mean, I love the freckles. It kind of, I guess, the paleness of your skin really accentuates the freckles. You know what I say, Jude. I love a bit of freckle accentuation. Trouble saying that at this time of the day. Anyway, Jude, viewers, this tool, this rsFirstOfficer tool, is going to give Jude a voice for the first time. For the first time on this channel, Jude will speak. I'm excited. Jude's obviously just over the moon, waiting to hear what she sounds like, because she's never heard herself. So we're going to hear Jude for the first time. And yeah, another thing I thought I'd just mention, in case you're wondering, I'm running the sim in windowed mode. That's why you're seeing the bar across the top. And I'm doing that so that I can have this rsFirstOfficer tool, this window, always appear on top as I sort of pan around the screen. If I run it in full screen, then I lose this window, and it's kind of really frustrating to keep, alt-tabbing and getting it back on screen. If you're fortunate to have a multi-monitor setup, then you probably just run rsFirstOfficer over on your second or third or sixth screen, whatever the case may be, and it's okay. But I'm running a single monitor, and I want it to appear on top for now, because as we know, everything's better on top, Jude. And on that note, I'm just going to get myself sorted out in terms of controller settings and all that sort of stuff. I've got some stuff happening here in the fly pad, over this side, the fly pad, which is a great little thing. I think it's been, it kind of looks the same as it did last time I flew the aeroplane, but it's certainly developed over time. I do know that the Phoenix A320, those of you that are fortunate enough to have it, has a great iPad EFB thing, doesn't it? It is impressive. I have seen it, but I quite like the fly-by-wire version. So that's our route all plugged in. We've got some weather at our departure and destination, routes there, average wind, all that sort of gear. We've got some stuff happening here in terms of services. Our fuel truck is around, although we've fueled, so we don't need that anymore. Our GPU is connected, of course. We can do our pushback. I don't know whether this works. I usually use the other one. Can't remember if there's an issue here or not. Fuel is as per sim brief. Yep, 9.5 ton of fuel. Yeah, so I'll get myself sorted here, folks, and then we'll get this aeroplane started. Alright, so best laid plans and all that. I'll tell you what happened. I went to use the rsFirstOfficer plug-in thing to get us, get the cockpit prepped and get the engine started and all that sort of stuff. To be honest, I actually kind of abandoned it pretty early on. I found it actually complicated things for me. That's not a criticism of the app, more just how I fly, I think. Yeah, it actually complicated things. So I just did it my own way. I've got a certain process that I use when I'm setting up the A320 for a flight. It's definitely not textbook, and it takes shortcuts, probably takes shortcuts. I skip some stuff, I forget some stuff. It gets the job done for me, but the checklist that comes with the rsFirstOfficer app kind of doesn't work for me. You can customize it, don't get me wrong. The developer actually encourages you to do so, and if I'm going to use this app, if I was going to fly the A320 more, I probably would invest some time in customizing it. But I'm not sure that I'm going to fly it more. This is just kind of a way of demonstrating or I guess a little bit testing the app, I suppose, to see whether it suits my type of flying. And at the moment, I'm not sure, but I want to show you, the simming YouTube community, that this tool is available and maybe it will suit you. I'm not criticising the tool, don't get me wrong here. So, I promised before that Jude has a voice. Jude, I promised we're going to give you a voice, and I'm going to deliver at least on that promise. You've made me a few promises over the years, Jude, and just quietly have let me down more often than not. But who's complaining? And after all, beggars can't be choosers, Jude. Can they? Before taxi checklist, Jude, would you like to do that with me? Let's do it. Execute.
Before taxi checklist. Slats and flaps.
Slats and flaps. That's a bit difficult to say after you've had a few bevies. I think they're good.
Set.
They're set.
Flight controls.
Flight controls. You're supposed to check them full left and full right and full up and full down and all that sort of stuff. Rudder, full left, full right, all that sort of stuff. We're good.
Tested.
Tested. Trims.
Trims. Jeez, you said that almost seductively, Jude. Trimmed. I think trims are set. We'll just say
Set.
yes.
Spoilers.
Spoilers are armed.
Armed.
Auto brake.
Auto brake's up here. You've got to set that to max. Right, now you can either keep clicking the execute button to move through the items, or there's a shortcut, and you can configure the shortcut to be what you want, which is in the settings thing, which is up here. And what I should mention at this point, so my shortcut key to trigger the next item is currently set to V. It seems to work. What I should also mention is that you can change the pilot flying and pilot monitoring voice. I've got mine set to Microsoft David, and Jude is currently pretending to be Microsoft Zira. Zira, what sort of a name's that? Microsoft Jude, that's what I prefer to call it. And you can change those, and you can also even get different AI voices if you want to fork over some cash. There's also some Amazon free for 12 months sort of AI voice as well. It's in the documentation that comes with the download, folks. If you want to explore that, I don't want to pay for voices. Alright, I don't want to pay for voices, so I'm running with the defaults. I'm David, Jude Zira. Let's go with that. Anyway, V button to move us through. Auto brake. Okay. The V button, Jude.
Set max.
Set max.
Flight instruments.
Flight instruments. What's the confirmation for flight instruments? I don't know. We should probably dial in an altitude though, hey? 37 is what we're going to cruise at. V.
Checked.
Taxi clearance.
Yep. Sorry folks, I'm just noticing that there's an aeroplane in the distance. It's currently levitating inverted. Have a look at that. Let me go outside, see if I can show you. Hang on, where are we? Look at that. In the distance, this one here, pirouetting around the left wingtip. That's interesting. I haven't seen that before. I've seen a lot of things in this sim. Am I having a stroke? I didn't think I was that drunk. I don't know. Trying to fly an A320. You've got to be a little bit crazy. Right, let's go.
Receive.
Taxi light.
Taxi light. That's up here. I know where that is. Taxi light's on, I think, Jude. We're good.
On.
Before taxi checklist complete. Before takeoff when you are ready.
Before takeoff when I'm ready. All right. So we'll do before takeoff in a bit. How about we get to at least to the hold, or maybe even onto the runway. So parking brake released. Parking brake released. Now here's where I find out that I don't have my throttles configured correctly. Or maybe I do. Maybe I'm okay. We'll just ping the cabin while we're here. We'll do a takeoff config check, which is down here. So we get all green. Runway 12. So we've got a sort of taxi. We'll go left and then right by the looks of it. Always struggle to taxi the airliners after flying lighties like this. I'll be struggling to keep us on the paved surface. We'll go okay. Just having a look at those numbers in the top left. So we are seeing we're not able to maintain 40 FPS, and that's okay. I'm not going to be too upset. I really just want to see what happens. It's a bit of a suck it and see flight. Jude, we've had a few of those experiences in our relationship, haven't we? Often you don't see what you'd like to be seeing. Anyway, bottom of runway 12 in the Alice, folks. A little bit of braking. We'll go out to the left and chuck a Yui around to the right. Yeah, so we're not able to maintain 40. We're getting pretty close though. Chewing up a lot of my VRAM. Most of the VRAM is gone. Not a lot of room there. Alright, runway 12. Alice Springs. Alright, so what we'll do is go upstairs and do the lights. Landing lights on, takeoff. All the other stuff is good, I think. Now what's happened to the window?
Flight attendants, please prepare for takeoff.
Oh, is that me? Is that another version of me, another personality that talks to the flight attendants, does it? Okay. What's happened to my window, my RS window? Alright, let me get that back, folks. I'll just pause it while I do that. And through the magic of television, we're back. Before takeoff checklist, thanks, Jude.
Before takeoff checklist.
Thank you.
Flight controls.
Yep, they're still there.
Tested.
Tested. Flight instruments.
Yep, still there.
Checked.
Checked. Briefing.
Consider yourself briefed, Jude, although personally I prefer the debriefing.
Confirmed.
Flap setting.
We're good.
Config 1.
Config 1.
ATC.
ADC, yep.
Set.
Radar.
Yep, good.
On.
Predictive wind shear system.
Is good.
On.
Echem memo.
All good.
Takeoff. No blue.
Takeoff, no blue.
Before takeoff checklist to the line.
Alright, so you get the gist, folks. There's a whole bunch of checklists that are built in, right? We might use one for the approach, but I'm actually going to quieten Jude up for the rest. Although I think that she will call the V speeds. I think. Alright, do we need to do anything else? I don't think so, Jude. We should go chrono. Let's bring those thrust levers up. Spool them up, boys. Not Mantoga, we want to go to the flex. Where's the flex? There's the flex. Alright, there we go. Up through 80. Yeah, we're struggling to maintain our 40 frames per second. Release that pressure on the stick, don't we?
V1.
Yeah, she does call V-run and rotate. There you go.
Positive rate.
Gear up, I think, is the call. Oh, we're going alright now. It felt pretty smooth in terms of frame performance and stuff, even though it was a little bit choppy. I'm sure in the playback I'll see that it was much choppy than what it felt like. But so far so good. So we'll get to 1500 AGL, which is about here. Pitch down, speed trend up. Flaps can come in. Pitch up. Continue the climb. Move into the thrust climb detent. What are we supposed to do? It's a right hand turn, isn't it? What happens if we go autopilot? Will it just maintain heading? It will. Alright, so we'll come downstairs, go direct LO for example. We should see a right hand turn, we can zoom out. Yeah, there we go, we're good. Continuing to accelerate. Beautiful. Beautiful country out here. Raw, Jude, and that's how I like it, as you know very well. I am really concerned about your cadaver-like state, Jude. We really do need to get some good tucker into you, hey? I'm flying down to Melbourne. They got some good food down in Melbourne. Good coffee as well. Well, they like to believe so. Actually, they do pretty good coffee in Melbourne. And we continue the climb, folks. So I'll rejoin you, I think, close. Master caution, is that on? What's our master caution on for? Pack 2 is off. Really? Where's Pack 2? Why is Pack 2 off? Thanks for the heads up. That's something that Jude should be able to call out. Something like, hey, dopey, your pack's off.
Passing 10,000 feet.
Oh.
Passing transition level.
Oh, thanks, Jude. Standard barrow. I wasn't expecting that. You're full of surprises, my love. Yeah, folks, I'll join you in the cruise and we'll have a bit more of a chat there. No, safely in the cruise, folks. We're about halfway through the flight at this point. Sort of north of a place called Lee Creek at this time. We are hauling ass across the ground. This beautiful ground. Have a look at it. Absolutely majestic out there. We've got a bit of a crab going. Let me just jump inside for you. Yeah, you tend to get a bit of a crab when you've got wind coming out of the west at 115 knots. So we've got a bit of that wind's coming straight up the date. So we're tazzing 453, 505 over the ground. So we are making really, really good time. And Jude's going to take credit for that. It's your uniform, Jude. Hey, aerodynamically designed. I mean, it's pretty well fitting, I'll give you that. But I just can't get past this, Jude. I'm just really struggling. We're in a hurry here to get you some food. Hey, it's a good thing that we've got some wind up the date. Not coming out of the date, Jude. You'd know all about that. Anyway, folks, we're going well. In terms of performance, the numbers on the top left of the screen, basically maintaining 40 during the cruise, but you would expect to get best performance up here. It'll get, I would suspect, pretty choppy as we get closer to Melbourne and we've got to render some more objects and stuff like that. What I'll probably do is drop my settings back as a result of this flight, but that's, you've got to go flying, you've got to try stuff in the sim. Yeah. So what else is happening in the world of simulation? I'll take you back outside and give you a view of this beautiful land that I call home. What else is happening in the world of simulation? I can't recall too many new aircraft releases sort of in recent days, if any. The Phoenix version of the A320, which is the older one, the old conventional engine options, is keeps getting very positive press, and fair enough too. I believe there's an update in the works for that aeroplane. It's already an impressive bit of kit. I'm, for the moment, I was going to say stuck with this aeroplane, but I don't feel stuck. I think it's a really impressive bit of work, this fly-by-wire kit. I don't do it justice the way I fly and that sort of stuff, but I enjoy it in my own way, and I really enjoy or appreciate the work that's gone into this aeroplane, the team that have created this beast and continue to improve it, in spite of the fact that there is a real competitor in the market, certainly the payware side of things. But if for whatever reason you don't feel like investing in a payware A320, or you just prefer the Neo, you prefer to support the fly-by-wire team, then this one remains available. And it's a good aeroplane to scratch that airliner itch, I find anyway. For me, I don't spend a lot of time in it and prefer to be down low, and but when I do feel like an airliner flight, this is my go-to. I have tried the Salty 747. In fact, I started a video, didn't we, Jude? We started a video in that aeroplane, only to abandon it. It has terrible performance on my rig. I mean, it is by far the worst performing aeroplane on my rig. I'm not exactly sure why that is, but that flight didn't last too long. Hence why I haven't made a video, or the video didn't make it to the tube. I think I rage quitted the sim. And that doesn't really make for a watchable video, does it? But I try to. I keep my rages just for Jude. Don't I, lovely? Yeah. So nothing much. No much more bullshit to go on with, folks. So I'll save myself the trouble. I'll save you the pain of listening to it. I'm going to rejoin you for the approach to runway 34 at Melbourne. Right, folks, the concluding stages of the flight. We're kind of flying a left base-ish to runway 34 at Melbourne. And we've lost our little pop-up window again.
2,500.
Thanks, Georgie. We've lost our pop-up window. We need to get that back. And the pop-up window has reappeared. We'll get Jude to help us with an approach, I think, with the approach checklist.
Flaps 1.
Speed check. Flaps 1.
She actually deploys the flaps for us. That's very nice. We're going to go into a manage speed mode here. Manage speed mode.
Flaps 2.
Speed check. Flaps 2.
Oh, speed checked. We're in an overspeed situation. She still deployed the flaps. Okay. Somehow me thinks he didn't really look at the speed, Jude. Right, just about to turn final, folks. Now, can we go? Well, let's go flaps 2 now. I didn't check the speed either. Left-hand turn, Georgie. Thanks, mate. We're going to let Georgie take us almost, maybe down to minimum, something like that. So our co-pilot first officer window has gone, but the shortcut to execute the next step remains available, which is going to be the V. Now, the next step in the checklist is probably gear, is my guess.
Gear down.
Gear down, spoilers armed.
Right, you arm the spoilers. We do check the cabin, which will be up here. Ping them. Runway in sight, runway 34 Melbourne. Next item will be flaps 3. Let's go into approach mode. Does that work? Probably not. We're locked at 2,000 feet. That's because I'm going to take over. Georgie, let me fly, pal. Probably a little bit low on profile. Take flaps 3 momentarily. Get our speed under control. 180 knots seems to be our managed target. Definitely struggling for frames now as we've got closer and closer to Melbourne. No chance of keeping that 40 frames. We're in the low 30s. We've been as low as 18 on descent. Getting a little bit low on profile. Alright, we'll take our next
Flaps 3.
Flaps, thanks, Jude.
Speed check. Flaps 3.
Alright, flaps 3, one stage to come.
1,000.
Thanks, Georgie. Yeah, definitely low here on profile. We'll get
Flaps
fully
full.
configured by 1,000.
Speed check. Flaps full.
Thanks, Jude. Okay. Whoa. Big drop in frames there. Yeah, so what that's telling me is that I probably need to adjust my settings. I want to try and maintain 40, or just cap my frames at lower than 40. 3 reds, 1 white. So 121 is our approach speed. 2 reds, 2 white now. It's a light breeze. I don't know why we're getting sort of pushed around a little bit here.
500.
Thanks, Georgie. Alright, on profile now. Fully configured.
400.
All that's left to do is to plant this on the ground in a somewhat competent manner.
300.
Ooh, look at those stutters.
200.
Runway 34 Melbourne, folks.
100. 50. 40. 30. 20. Retard. 10. 5.
And into reverse. Reverse green and all that other Airbus pilot shit. Come out of reverse. Very nice manual braking. Kick off the auto brakes. We're good. We're going to put this first taxiway on the right hand side. Folks, thank you again for your company in another video. This has been a first impressions style look at that freeware utility, the rsFirstOfficer. I probably haven't done it justice, and I think that there's a lot of flexibility built into it to build your own checklist and that sort of stuff. That's what I'd probably do if I was to continue using it. But I just want to give a shout out to the developer. Thank you for making it available. Thank you for investing the time and the effort that is required to make these things, and doing it for the love of simming and providing it to the community. We very much do appreciate it. Folks, we'll see you in a future video at some point. Thanks again, and bye for now.